All right, good morning or good afternoon, whatever time you guys are listening to us. Welcome back to another episode of the Layman's AI podcast. I am Adam,
And my name is Brian.
and we'd like to welcome you guys back to what is our eighth episode now. Seems like just yesterday we started episode one. I'll probably be saying that when we're
Mm.
doing episode 38, but nevertheless, we're here. We're at episode eight already, and we decided this week we're going to do something a little different. We are going to make some bold predictions, and some of them more bold than others, as to where AI is going to take us in the future, what it's going to look like. So, long story short, Brian has picked two predictions, and I have two predictions on what AI is going to mean in the near future. That is, whether it's an event, whether it's something that's going to impact our work, or something that's going to impact our lives. And then at the end, Brian had a good idea, and we are going to actually ask one of our LLMs to make a prediction as to what's going to happen in the AI world. So this episode is pretty much for making some bold predictions. So Brian, we're going to get started with you. What are some bold predictions that you think is going to happen in the AI world in the near future?
Yeah, okay. So my first prediction, and this is kind of a positive one. I mean, I know there's a lot of negative predictions, but AI workflows and their tools and their capabilities are going to allow small teams and small companies to create a product that large teams and large companies can create right now. Right now, when you get these large companies, you have, dozens of contributors and what have you, and they all have their specific skills and they all collaborate and they make a superior product than someone, let's say, I'm gonna use an example here, video games. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, someone like Nintendo, when they made, the last Legend of Zelda game, just massive scale, so much to do, lots of things happening. They got a huge team working on creating this video game. Now, what AI can do and creating AI workflows and everything, they can give smaller teams the capabilities to create a video game like that. So if I got a small group of 10 people, potentially if I can optimize these AI workflows and go in the direction that they're going, they could probably create a game on that scale, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to create more agile businesses.
I think you're right. I have no reason to disagree with you on this because the evidence in our AI journey just over these last year or two, it's pushing towards that. We've seen people in social media become hits because they've done things with creativity. In just last week, we referenced those Sasquatch videos, and I think that's an example of how one or two people or a small team is making a push in social media just as a result of a new AI tool that has come out. I really think it's going to force people to be creative with what they can do with AI, and those that are going to be able to do that are going to be rewarded, and they're going to be competing with the big names or the big names as we know it right now. It does make you wonder how many of these small teams you're talking about could end up becoming massively popular, such as like a Mr. Beast, but instead of being a YouTube sensation or a social media sensation, you're more of a creativity genius with your AI capabilities.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to predict what people are going to do with it creatively.
Hmm.
Because yeah, everybody brings their own kind of strength to the table and everything. I know you and I have our strengths and we can combine them to make one product and everything. If we
Hmm.
brought a few more people, we might add some more strengths or what have you. But yeah, I mean, how these tools are going to come about are going to be interesting to see how people can use these and what type of workflows they can develop with them. Because I think I made this point before. A small movie studio, in a little office building in the middle of, Nebraska could probably get enough equipment right now with these AI development tools, make basically a Hollywood production as to what Hollywood's capable of. And this isn't to say that the large companies can't adjust, because if you have, a team like I was using before with Nintendo, they make their Zelda games or what have you. If they actually learn to implement those AI tools, they can make a product we probably can't even fathom right now.
Hmm.
So it's up to these large companies, are you gonna, invite these AI tools because it's gonna make, competition you don't even know about yet, be able to compete with you, essentially.
Absolutely. And I think I love what you said about the small teams. It really could be somebody in Omaha, Nebraska, or Iowa City, Iowa. I'm using these Midwest examples, but it could be those
Hmm.
small towns where they could have these teams of people that are competing with the likes of Silicon Valley or
Hmm.
Shanghai or Hong Kong, wherever or Singapore, the tech industries. They really can do that. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It is going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. We're going to see like a news story or a 60 minutes documentary on a small team of creators and for what they've done in AI and how they're the most popular in the world because of it. And it's probably going to be
Hmm.
three or four guys. This is kind of
Hmm.
funny. Brian knows this. Our audience probably doesn't know this. I'm actually on vacation right now, so I'm filming this in an alternative location. And we were both talking about how with AI, it's again, even though right now we're just talking about a simple Zoom that we used to record, but with AI, it's going to be possible for us to travel more and actually do and complete our work at a reasonable pace. And that's another thing that kind of
Hmm.
goes along with your prediction in terms of because you're going to be a small company, you're not reporting to a building every single day, perhaps. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot more wide open.
Yeah, and like a small company's advantage is they're more agile. They don't have all these established costs and established investors that all these large companies do.
Hmm.
And some of these large companies are going to be able to adjust. Some of them will refuse to adjust and think they don't have to, as with any business ever. And a lot of these companies that you wouldn't think would actually collapse are going to collapse, and it's going to be shocking. And,
Yeah.
kind of a point that I say, what if I went back in time and told everybody in 1950 that in 60, I can't remember the exact number of years, 60 or 70 years, Sears is going to be gone.
Oh,
Sears.
no, nobody would have, everybody would have bet against you on that one.
Yeah, they would
Uh,
have probably, burned me at the stake and thought I was a witch.
they had to say, yeah,
But
don't listen to this guy.
yeah,
I mean, we had the Sears
so
Tower at one point was it was,
yep,
America was the Statue of Liberty and the Sears Tower at one point.
yeah, exactly. But it's something to think about. Now,
Mhm.
Adam, I know you got a prediction here. Why don't you give us your prediction and let us know what you think is going to happen with all these AI tools?
Well, unfortunately, Brian, mine is a little more on the possibly negative side. So I do have a belief. We've touched base on this in an earlier episode. I don't even remember which one. You would think with 8 episodes we'd remember exactly which episode, but I just don't remember which episode. But
Yeah,
we did talk
we're just
about
chattering so much right now. It's just having a lot of fun.
that's right, and it is fun. We talked about how AI right now is the wild, wild west. Like we keep saying wild, wild west, at least I do, and it really should just be Wild West. This isn't the song by Drew Hill and Will Smith, I don't think. But
Yeah, it's not.
anyways, it was a good reference to high school. And
Exactly.
it is the Wild West right now. And I know that these AI companies have asked government for some sort of regulation.
Mhm.
And it has not happened to the level of which I know I would like to see it. I can't speak for you, Brian, but I think you and I are on the same page with this one where we think there needs to be some regulation and some rules put in place and guidelines, in particular with training LLMs and other things.
Oh yeah, there's. It seems like governments are kind of dragging their feet on this. Everybody,
It
nobody
does.
wants to get along right now.
Right.
Which that's just kind of it could be dangerous. And if it goes the longer it goes unregulated, the more overregulated it's going to be down the road.
Correct. And
And
my
if
that's what I'm getting to, Brian.
yeah, I was like, so if we start loosely regulating as we go, I don't think we'll actually get to the overregulation. But
Yep.
uh,
I
who
wish
am
we
I?
would, but I don't see it happening. So my first bold prediction is we are not going to get regulated for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then some type of a major event, probably not with deaths or anything like that, not anything doom and
Mhm.
gloom, but some type of a major event that's going to impact a lot of people as a result of not regulating AI is going to happen. Something about finances, something about insurances getting mixed up. I mean, something, maybe airports, some type of an event is going to happen, and it's going to be caused by a lack of control over AI tools and AI companies. And that is going to force government to step in. And when you're forced to step in, any government, when you're forced to step in a reactive sense, you overreact to fix the problem when you could have been fixing it. It's right here in your face right now. I
Mhm.
wish politicians would reach out more and try to find out more about AI and what they can do to help AI so that it regulates itself in a better way. Because right now, anybody can start an AI company, anybody can start uh, using tools incorrectly and on purpose. Anybody could start defrauding people with AI. It's going to start happening. It's already happening, and I think unfortunately it's going to take a major event of some type of a catastrophe, if you will. Again, not necessarily doom and gloom with deaths, but when you
Yeah.
talk about people's finances, people's health records, people's data, that's
Hmm.
that's another thing that could be out there. What happens if AI gets a hold of everybody's social security number and just starts giving it out by an
Yeah.
accident? Uh,
Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing right there is that sometimes it just takes something really, really bad to happen for us to actually take action. You fall asleep at the wheel, so to say, and nothing ever gets done. And like
right.
it's only getting worse as we go. I think I made this point maybe an episode or two ago. The last major internet regulation was back in the 90s when they had dial-up,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
was a novelty. And now the internet is a necessity and everything, and we're still not regulating the internet. We still don't know what to do.
Right.
We still can't, come to an agreement on, how we're going to, monitor this and all that have you. I know a lot of people, they'll, go to their grave defending like zero regulation, which that's not a good idea at all. And
Hmm.
with AI now, it's beyond overdue. And we're not doing the internet regulation like we should. And now AI has added a whole new wrinkle to it. So now, like you said, there's going to be a massive issue and we're going to have to overreact,
And it's going to be an
unfortunately.
overreaction. People who've been using AI tools the proper way are going to end up being punished somehow. Not necessarily like going to jail or anything, but they're going to be punished because of how they've gotten used to working with AI tools. They're all of a sudden not going to be able to get used to working with AI tools. And you'll have people who don't understand the industry trying to regulate it. It's one of the problems with governments in general, no matter what type of government you have, when you have officials making decisions that are not necessarily in their realm of expertise, when you do it as a reaction, you tend to not get a good result sometimes.
Hmm.
So I certainly don't want that to happen. I think something we can do as layman's people is reach out to our congressmen, but more importantly, our state representatives too. Those guys
Hmm.
impact us very much. Maybe we should be reaching out to them and saying, hey, there's this thing called AI. We think it needs some regulation within our states and boundaries, and look
Yep.
up what the issues are that you have concerns with. I mean, data privacy is a big one, and a lot of companies have strived to say they're going to make sure that they protect your data, but can they
Yeah.
really do that with AI tools?
Yeah, I know. I think it was, if I want to say Texas release was like trying to pass some kind of legislation where if you're going to do any sort of like political advertisement, you have to disclose how you used AI in your political
Okay.
advertisement,
Okay.
which I think is a good thing. Some
Yes.
people, the zero regulations or death people are, out there, but that's just not right, in
Hmm.
my opinion. But yeah, they said, disclose what you're using AI, and I think like transparency laws are going to be like the big
Amen.
thing. Transparency regulation. What are you using AI for? And that's going to be a good first step in my opinion.
I agree with you. I think transparency is a big thing. We've preached that. We've been preaching that for 8 episodes. There should be no shame in saying this is how I use the AI tool and this is how I used it to help me get what I need to get done. I feel like a broken record, but we've said that 100 times and we want to keep that message going. So with that said, Brian, what's your second prediction that is going to happen as a result of AI?
The irrelevance of jobs is my second prediction right here, and
Wow.
the irrelevance of jobs as we know them. This has
Okay.
actually been predicted for a while since automation has been becoming more prevalent. The old 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5, your 9 to 5. That has been around since, oh gosh, what, 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. And
Certainly a long time. I
yeah,
feel like the
and
9 to 5 was a post World War II thing because prior to that, I feel like it was a little longer than 9 to 5 at times.
yeah, that's before la labor unions stepped in and everything.
Uh-huh.
But like it, the entire economy that we have is built on this structure. And they've built this 9 to 5 mentality, and you work till you retire, you save up this much, and then you're gone. Well, there's a few things that kind of make things irrelevant with that is that it is predicted that AI will wipe out half of the white collar jobs. I don't know if I'm going to go that high of a percentage, but it is going to eliminate white collar jobs. But now blue collar jobs are coming into play,
Hmm.
where it's not a bad thing because America's infrastructure has been crumbling for decades now.
Yes.
But there are going to be an increase in blue collar jobs. Well, blue collar workers, working as a construction worker until you're 70, um, probably not your best idea right there. So people are gonna have to
Right.
retire earlier. Well, the thing is though, Social Security was always that safety net. And I know that's a big, big, big debate right now. I'm not gonna get into the politics of it, but I think at the core of it was that birth rates would increase or maintain the same levels, and that would feed everybody on the back end. Well, now birth rates have gone down, and that's
Yes.
ultimately where the deficit is coming from. Nobody
Yes.
wants to say it, but that's this is all these things that are baked into the economic structure right now. But if we don't make an adjustment, like things are going to get really hairy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Brian, I'm really glad you brought that up because I do feel a spirit of transparency, as we've been talking about.
Hmm.
Nobody brings up this population loss in the United States and what it's going to mean for us in the near future. I will share with you, you saying that that's going to have an impact along with the impact of AI on the job market. This is what I think in education, because there's less kids going to school, because there's less kids, period, in the United States. It's a
Hmm.
downward trend. So it's not just public school, it's kids going to school in general
Well,
is
it's
on
the
is on a downward trend.
well, less people want to have kids too.
That's yes.
That's something we didn't predict
No, we
either.
didn't. I have two boys myself, and I know why people don't want to have kids, but that's just my own biased opinion. Seriously, so
Yeah, and I got
sometimes my
two
son
girls,
could get
so.
the Pope to swear. I swear. So, but anyways, no, it's people don't want to have kids anymore. That is an impact, and I also think another danger with AI is we may have hinted on this. I'm worried people are going to see AI for companionship as it gets better, and that's already a problem that's happening in our teenage youth already. Is they're going to character AI and they're reaching out to it because they don't feel they have a friend that they can talk to. Because most of the way they've grown up, they've talked through messaging each other, collaborating with each other on a device. They haven't done the face to face, get on the playground, skin your knee, sit next to a friend on the bus that you don't know that well and talk about music. They haven't done that stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's yeah, things are changing. It's going to change the job market even more. I know the first big change, like we said, was automation.
mhm.
That took away all the, guys bringing their lunch pail, like sitting down somewhere and assembling something for 40 hours a week, which was basically how automation came about. It's like, okay, I see a repetitive task. How can I make a machine to do this for me? And
Hmm.
now AI is coming for the automating the white collar jobs. How can I, take this coder who only knows how to code, just codes, just only does code and only thinks about code. Hey, I can have an LLM do this for me now, and it's only getting
Absolutely.
better. And some coders have already been replaced, and it's like, it's just changing things, and somehow we need to overhaul our economic structure,
Hmm.
or things are gonna yeah, get bad essentially,
Yeah,
and people are going to be out of work. I know a few things that have been floated out there was the universal basic income, and like a lot of people are against that. It's a very political hot topic, but is it going to be what we need? Because I might not be able to find 40 hours a week all the time.
that was Andrew Yang's when he ran. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
He
he
was the
was
first
like,
one that really had some success pitching that, right?
yeah, the idea has been around for a while, but
Yes,
he was like the first presidential candidate to throw that out
to
there on a
throw that
major
out there.
party.
I
Yeah.
so I'll share with you, and I know we said we would never get political, but when
Hmm.
I first heard that, just hearing the blank definition of what it was, I went to my, oh, that's communism. Everybody gets the same
Yeah.
amount of money. And then
Hmm.
when I actually heard Andrew Yang talk about it, he really made me think about it and
Yeah.
used the examples that you're using with automation, economy, and really did a good job of saying how this could save us money long term as a country. And I listened to it. I was not immediately against it, which told me I was getting a little older. I wasn't set in my
Yeah.
ways right away. I was actually listening. I kept
hmm
an open ear to it. I'd like to hear more about it now in the world of AI because I do think what he spoke about is going to have some more relevance as these jobs are starting. They
Yeah.
they are starting to disappear, folks. I got to tell you, the evidence is there that these jobs are
hmm
disappearing. I know they told us AI wouldn't take any jobs. They are. It is. Yeah. They're yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to get political either, but
Hmm.
this might come out of a necessity, just because we simply don't have enough work, and
Right.
it's been a struggle for many years to like fill jobs or find a job. We keep creating jobs, but now people are becoming TikTok stars and you know social media influencers and what have you. So,
Right.
I mean, how many of those jobs can we really make and say, hey, that's going to make me a lot of money? Because, here I am as an engineer, earning my living, making ends meet. But then there's some guy throwing water balloons at random people on TikTok and he's a millionaire. So,
Funny how that works.
I mean, it's crazy, but overhaul is needed. But
Hmm.
anyway, I think that's going to bring us into our Adam's second prediction, I should
So
say.
my second
And
prediction
what is
is
yours?
somewhat economic. So
hmm
that was a good segue. I've got a strange belief. I haven't really pitched this out there, so I kind of want to throw this out there. And maybe we should. Maybe I'll try to throw out some stuff on my personal social media page, maybe on my LinkedIn and my X account, just about trying to spark up a conversation because I want to hear what people think about this. But I do believe that after we get regulated, there's only going to be about four or five big AI monsters or big AI companies. I
hmm
see Google obviously surviving. I see OpenAI surviving, and there I think when the dust clears, it's going to be hard to become a little man in developing AI, and that these big
hmm
AI companies are going to be able to have control over the AI tools.
Yeah, well, the amount of engineering that goes into an LLM,
Hmm.
it takes so much manpower,
Yeah,
just to get a proper LLM to develop, and you can't, create an LLM in your basement unless you're like super genius like Sheldon Cooper
yeah,
times Stephen Hawking times, Nikola
and
Tesla and
not to mention,
this.
where are you going to get the money to train it?
Yeah.
So you have to have the money behind you of
hmm
an insane amount of money behind you on top of your great intelligence in order to do
hmm
that. And I'm sure if
Yeah.
somebody did exist like that, they'd just play the stock market instead.
Yeah, they would they'd be laughing all the way to the bank. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
LLMs are actually behind a lot of AI that's coming in. So like AI, like LLM was sort of an AI building block, and natural language processors and everything and
Hmm.
machine learning. And now that these models are developed and everything, um, now they're sort of the building blocks for all the AI tools that can be distributed throughout the world.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, like you said, major companies are going to be, sitting up there. They're going to be the Sears of the AI world. Where
Well,
Sears was once the pinnacle of retail.
yep, I
Chat
do.
or OpenAI is now pinnacle of LLMs.
I think there's going to be four major ones, and where this boils down to in economic terms, I think I should be very specific. I think there's going to be four major ones in the United States.
Mm.
I think China's going to have one,
Yeah.
and it's going to be government ran, and it'll be everything that you would expect it to be. But
Yep.
with that said, I think there'll be four in the United States, and what I think is going to happen is a lot of AI is based off of tokens. So whatever type of account you have tokens.
hmm
So if you have paid accounts, you get more tokens to do more things with AI than those who have the free versions. And
hmm
I truly believe that these tokens, whatever they're called in the future, these capabilities, these how many credits do you have in order to make the AI do what you need it to do? I do believe they're going to be worth value. And I do believe
hmm
it'll act as a form of currency. AI tokens will be like another form of currency in the future. That's a little ways down the road.
Yeah,
But it,
hard to predict how it's gonna, pan out, but there are gonna be major ones, Cream's gonna
mhm,
rise to the top. I mean,
yeah,
I remember when cell phones were blowing up. I think we're the last generation to grow up without a cell phone. I
I'm
think.
pretty sure. I did
Yeah,
not
I'm
have a
pretty
cell
sure.
phone until college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even have I didn't have one until then either. And
Yeah.
I remember when cell phones first co started coming out. How many cell phone companies were there? Tons.
Oh
There
gosh,
was at
I
least
feel like there were several in every mall.
yeah, and like there was like multiple cell phone companies.
Yeah.
Now who do we have? We have AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon,
Hmm.
and then a couple smaller ones, which are actually essentially spin-offs of all the major ones.
And do you
And
remember how many cell phones you'd have the capability of buying, like different types? Through all these
yeah,
different companies had different types.
hmm
And now we're down to either Apple or Android, basically.
Essentially, yeah. And
Yeah.
three companies pretty much dominate. You have Google making their phones, Apple making their phones, and
Hmm.
Samsung making their phones.
Right.
I know there's a few smaller ones that are trying to upstart a little bit, but Motorola, who would have thought that Motorola would have faded
Oh,
as much as it did? I mean, it's still
I
Motorola,
still
but
I still go to BlackBerry, who came into the game after the game was already being played, and at one point, I think BlackBerry held 60% of the cell phone market. It was
oh yeah,
ridiculous,
oh yeah,
and
but
and,
they
and
didn't
they
adjust.
they did not adjust.
Hmm
By the way, have you seen the movie BlackBerry?
No, I have
Oh, it's on Hulu. I got it. We're talking movies again.
not.
It's a really good movie about how they got started and how they went down,
Okay.
how they went downhill. And there's a little bit of sports involved in it, which was kind of fun
Yeah,
for me as a
they
hockey
had
fan. Yeah,
they had something so amazing,
they
but they didn't
did.
adjust. They didn't adjust.
I
And
believe they were the ones who changed the market, though. I think they were the first ones that said unlimited free texting, and that was so huge because
Mhm.
think about it. You were using tokens, or the AI version of tokens. You had so many minutes you could use
Mhm.
during the day and then so many text messages. And I mean, I think you remember when we
Call
did
me after
first have,
9.
yeah, call me after 9. If you paid extra and you were dating somebody who had some money, it was call me after 7.
Ah, okay,
And
gotcha.
then
Yeah, now
10
uh,
cents a text. Don't forget that too.
oh yeah, now everything's unlimited call and text, and then same
Yeah.
thing with data came about.
Yeah.
There used to be a data cap limit. I remember my first smartphone, it was before unlimited data. I would listen to Pandora all day at work for about a week straight. Saw that cell phone bill and realized that this data costs a lot of money. And,
Uh-huh.
going back to your AI prediction, I think it's going to go the way of the cell phones do, essentially. And you're going
Hmm.
to have these tokens, but then there's going to be that one rebel that says, you know what? You subscribe to us, unlimited tokens.
Yeah.
You
We're
get
gonna go.
unlimited
Yeah,
tokens.
we're gonna go to that.
And then, now everybody's got unlimited data because
Yeah.
I think T-Mobile was the rebel. They decided we're just going to give everybody unlimited data, and the other companies are like, we have no choice but to do this. And I think, yeah, I think I'm actually, as we're speaking about this, and I brought up the cell phones, we started talking about the cell phones. There's the parallels right there.
You're right.
We're
That wow. That wasn't even a deep dive for us. That was
no,
just a
we
simple talking about our lives, and then it
yeah.
matches what we think's going to happen, or definitely what I think's going to happen in the AI
hmm
world.
Yeah, and yeah, we didn't even talk about this before. I just brought up the cell phones, and yeah, now you see, right now is if we're doing like kind of an apples to apples comparison. Um, right now we're in the dumb phones, the old Nokia phones where you could play Snake.
Hmm.
As far as like the AI capabilities are concerned, and now they're going to add more limited, unlimited, and everything, and then we're eventually going to get to unlimited tokens if you just subscribe.
Yeah,
I think so.
you're right.
Wow.
So, okay, we agree. This is going well so far. So you have two predictions. I had two predictions. And then you asked an LLM to make a prediction. So talk us a little
hmm
bit about the process that you used for that. And then what is AI's prediction for AI in the future?
Yeah, I mean it was just a basic LLM search. I used Gemini. I said, let me see here. I got the I said make I said make some bold predictions on what AI will look like in the future. And it gave me a whole novel, of course, like with any LLM does. So I said,
Hmm.
give me your most likely prediction and describe it in one paragraph. So that's kind of what I, had to simplify it down. And this goes back to prompting. You prompt correctly, then
Right.
you get what you want. So, but anyway, it gave me this statement right here. Gemini's LLM prediction, autonomous agents capable of performing complex tasks with minimal human intervention. We'll see AI systems handling more cognitive work, discovering novel insights, and increasingly becoming the foundation for hyper-personalized experiences.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
We're
That's
already
deep.
seeing this a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. So yeah, handling more cognitive work. Hard to say really what it's going to be handling. I mean, right now it's handling a lot of entry level coding. It's handling a lot of basic magazine illustrations.
Yes. I,
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what it will do,
I
essentially.
think this goes back to the agents that are out right now. Uh, One of the AI tools I'm playing around with is named GenSpark, and I've been very happy with this AI tool for free, mind you. It comes with tokens. You only get so many a day, but it basically will do research for you and put things together in the context that you want it to. So recently I asked it to do research behind, I believe it was, gosh, it was something for work, but I believe it was, restorative practices. And I asked to put it in a manual so I can explain it to a school staff. And I wanted to see what it did. It did a fine job making that manual. And I did nothing except tell it what to do. And it did it in a matter of 9 minutes. Now, where are we going to head when, okay, here are my symptoms. Here's a scan of my body that, this is what my body looks like. This is my height, my weight, what's going on with me and my sickness. And what happens when these things are able to do that right then and there and diagnose you correctly?
Oh yeah, that's a lot of cognitive work right there.
It is. I think we're going to go from that make me a manual on information that's already out there to
Mhm.
diagnose a problem that's happening as a result
Yeah.
of within my body, which is a huge
hmm
thing to understand the human body itself. Uh,
Yeah.
and now all of
Yeah.
a sudden AI is doing the diagnosing for us.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I think going along the medical industry, you're going to have your own personalized trained LLM or trained model for
Hmm.
your own health over the years. What we can do is a doctor essentially, and this is kind of getting into agentic AI. That's a whole episode, actually, probably a whole episode
I
series.
feel like that's a
Um,
series. Yes.
yeah, de
Uh,
definitely. But at its base form, let's say you're born essentially, and the doctor takes, your EKG monitor, your heart rate, your blood pressure, and everything, and it, keeps track of all this like information, and then you can load it into your own personalized AI model. And when you're, born, you're there for, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, all the way up to 6 month, and then
hmm
9 months, and then 2 years, and they keep taking all these readings and what have you. You can keep loading that into a model. And then, you do your biannual checkups, your annual checkups. It could take your blood work, all your vitals and everything. You keep loading it into a model, loading it into a model.
Yes.
And, the more data you get on your health, the more it can predict, okay, this is what's happening with you. And it says, oh, I predict you're going to have to do this and what have you. And it could actually do a type of machine learning on your health, which sounds scary. I mean, I will say, like, machine learning your health.
Hmm.
But if you kind of like track your health and everything, it can give you predictive maintenance. And that's the essence of machine learning right there, is giving you some sort of prediction in the future on what you're going to have to do for your health.
Yes, and and I don't like saying that, but truth be told, I feel these LLMs are going to get pretty accurate very quickly in terms of
hmm
doing those sort of pinpointing what is wrong. I think diagnosing a car is going to be scanning it with your AI on your cell phone, and then a
hmm
mobile mechanic will come to your house and fix the problem for you.
Yeah, I mean, you
Uh,
could, I mean, every time you drive it, you could just keep recording data,
yeah.
and, your RPMs, how fast you're going, how many miles you're driving, or what have you. And it could take all this data and it can keep training your model and everything. And you can
Hmm.
have like a AI agent for your car that's going to tell you, oh, you should do this, or this is going to happen around here, plan for an oil change at this point, or what
Yeah.
have you. Actually, with electric cars, you might not get oil changes anymore. But, this is sort of the hyper personalized experiences that Gemini sort of gave us an idea of. And, these are the types of things that, you can use AI's sort of like machine learning capabilities to, give you like a personalized experience essentially.
Absolutely. And I feel like that was the safe answer from Gemini. Now that I'm rereading
hmm
this thing for another time, I feel like they did a good job of, well, this is what I think is going to happen because it's already started at the small scale.
Yeah,
So,
it is a safe answer. It gave me a few more predictions. Let me see here. Rise of true artificial general intelligence. In case you don't know what AGI is,
Yeah,
it's the
no.
point where machines have the exact thought as a human being. That's a whole another topic right there.
Yeah, and there's a whole the other thing is the timeline of when AGI is going to happen. I don't think they've agreed upon it yet. They seem to keep moving the date
Yeah.
up. And I do laugh as every time they move that date up, the release of the next AI product gets pushed back. So it cracks me up going, okay, which
Yeah.
one's going to be the real one here?
Well, discussing AGI, that's going to be an episode coming up, I think.
I think that's
Um,
coming up. Yeah.
Seamless extension of human capabilities, kind of have some of that already. Autonomous systems redefine industries and society. That's basically what we
Yeah,
kind of
we've
talked
covered
about
that
a
with
little
several
bit.
of ours. Yeah.
Societal ethical transformations. I think that's with any new technology in the world. So yeah, I mean, you can sort of see, like you said, Gemini is a little safe in its answers right now.
Hmm.
So that's kind of going into my final thoughts personally.
Right.
I asked AI to give me its bold predictions, and it doesn't sound bold to me, like these
That's a
predictions or
good
what
point.
have you. It sounds pretty safe. What it defines as bold and what we defined as bold. So you can see, those are all the predictions I asked Gemini to make. We made our predictions. I think our predictions are a lot more insightful, to be honest with you.
I would say so. However, I'm laughing now knowing what I know about Grok, the AI tool through X. What kind of bold prediction would Grok have made? I guess maybe
Um,
that's a, I don't think that'll be an episode, but I definitely think that'll be something I'm going to try after this podcast to just see what it says.
yeah, I'm probably gonna. It was probably another episode. Ask the LLMs the same question, see what they have to say, just so I can
Oh,
kind of guarantee
ooh,
see what it is.
I
I,
kind of
I I
like that.
I think we got next week's topic of conversation right there.
We just might. We just
We
might. And then and I guess the fun part will be what questions will we come up with to ask them?
Ooh, yes, yes. Leave it in the comments or on any of our social media platforms. What questions
Yeah,
should we ask an
just reach
LLM?
out and talk to us.
Yeah. Somebody please. Nobody's
Yeah,
commented
somebody
yet, but
please.
that's
I mean,
okay.
I get phone calls from my mom saying what a good job we're doing, and I love
Yeah,
hearing that, and that's great and all, but
my mom's
uh,
very proud of me too.
that's awesome. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome. It is awesome.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of I think gonna wrap it up right there. I
Hmm.
think we had a lot of good topics of conversation today.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the episode today. My name is Adam, or Brian, I should say.
Yep, you're Brian. I'm Adam. Yep,
Yes. Okay, let's start over again. My name is Brian,
and I'm Adam.
and thank you for listening to the Layman's AI, and we will see you next time.